Welcome to a special episode of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am sharing true paranormal stories from the web as part of the last part 5, of this year's Halloween special for 2024. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions or accounts of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Thank you all for being here, whether you are listening, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or on the Troubled Minds radio network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of my show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds radio comes on. And as always, I want to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for having me on the network and putting my shows up there. If you'd like to support my show, you can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written over on Amazon, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, including my most recent release, Salsido Paranormal Experiences. And you can also sign up for the Patreon page and get 1 extra episode of True Paranormal Stories from the web per week whenever possible. Or you can just make donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. And I think that takes care of all of that, so we can get back to the stories here, these true stories. And thank you all for listening and getting the show this far along in 4 years and over 680 episodes by the time Halloween week is done. So this one says, let me make sure I got the right spot here. Okay, yep. This one says, a week ago, I took my cat to the vet for an examination, and everything went well. Later that evening, while in the living room with my cat, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. I was startled to see a small, shadowy, black figure dart quickly from the hallway into my bedroom. The figure moved too fast to make out any clear features. Its movement caused a piece of cord to start swinging. I don't have a lot of excitement in my life, and though the vet visit was stressful, I felt relaxed by the time I got home. But what did I see? And that's where that one ends. And I don't know what they saw. I do wonder if it can take time, even when you're feeling better, when you're not stressed anymore, for that energy to maybe work itself out. I don't know if what they saw is directly connected to being stressed out earlier or not, or if they were just somehow still, I don't know, if they were in a more sensitive state because they were just sort of unwinding and that's what allowed them to see something, or if something was always there and maybe just if they maybe weren't in the house at the times, maybe there was something always there that was never doing anything major, just moving around, and it was doing that while they were gone, and they just happened to catch it this one time. I have no idea. I do know, just based on my own experience, that for me, when I get stressed out, I end up getting a stomachache after the fact. Like, even after I'm fine, after I'm better, I end up getting sometimes a major stomachache. and it takes a day or so or whatever for it to go away. I wonder if in some people it their energy goes in back into them somehow, like maybe in my case, or it goes out, or if it's both in some cases. And that allowed them to see something, or if it manifested something, I have no idea. But hopefully that's the only experience they ever had there at their house. And but yeah, I don't know what they saw there. Makes me wonder if there was ever any other pets there that had passed, if there was somehow connected to that. But hard to say when it's just a shadow and it's just this one encounter and nothing else. So I think random, just one-off events do happen at times too. I don't think we can rule that out. So anyway, moving on to the next true story here. Lost my spot. Okay. This one says, I have had dreams where I was someone else, speaking a different language, and everything around me was different. Even after I woke up, I could still feel the imprint of the place from the dream. I researched the experience and found it's called transmigrating, but there is little information available on it. I believe it has happened to me twice, always in a dream. In the first dream, the time period was different, and in the second, the country was different. Is this just my imagination, or something more? Has anyone else experienced something similar? And that's where that one ends. Of course, anyone that's listened to me talk recently on my own shows or just in chats and everything knows that I've had several experiences with what seem to be alternate, parallel, whatever you want to call them, different universes and familiar settings that still don't make sense, and people in those settings that are similar to my relatives that I know that are here, or other people that I know, but they're also different. Time slip, yeah, possibly. And so I don't, in the chat there from Sweets, I don't know. It's definitely possible. I think that when we're sleeping, there's just so many different things that and realms and ways to access them, and I think sleep and or dreaming is one of the major ones, if not maybe sort of a nexus for all of them, everything, all the levels of reality, and some people are able to travel easily, and they do it consciously. They choose to do those kind of things and go to places. And then I think there are plenty of other people, myself included, out there, who just find themselves in situations, and I don't know how that works, but I think it does happen. And the reason I say that is I do have regular dreams sometimes. And these regular dreams, they feel like regular dreams. These other experiences with these ones with the other universes, the ones where they're out of body, I know I'm in a place where I've never been to before, and then I eventually end up going there in person and finding that place. But it's different because, let's say when I go to sleep or whatever, it's a different time of day or night, and usually the place is empty when I go there. But then when I go there with whoever I'm with, because I'm legally blind, so I don't drive, so 9 times out of 10, if I'm going anywhere, I'm with someone, and there's people around in these places. So I don't know. I think again, just that level of consciousness, or those levels of it. I think really, because I think you're moving through different levels of it and brainwaves and all that. I think that's a whole area of gateways into other parts of reality, and yeah. So I guess that's really all I have to say on that. That I have, other than things I've already said before. So moving on to the next true story here. But that is amazing. especially the language part. I guess not moving on quite yet. That the writers mentioned there that they spoke a different language and knew what they were saying. I'd be curious too if they I wonder if it's a language that they know in this life or in this level of reality, or if it's not, or if they could. I mean, it may have already faded away as some of these experiences do, to the point where they can't remember any of the things that they said exactly, so they can't figure out what they were saying. But anyway, let's see here. Okay. Moving on to this next one. This one says, I was on the last train to my friend's house and got off at a station on the London Underground around midnight. As I began walking up the stairs, I felt like someone was right behind me. When I turned around, I saw a ghost of a girl with blonde hair wearing a white dress with no face. Wow. These I don't find these in any kind of order. I just find them as I find them and then put them in one document in the order that I find them. So for anyone that listened to the last couple episodes, we've already had a couple of accounts of people having experiences with some kinds of beings that have no face. Anyway, it says, terrified, I screamed and ran to my friend's house. Later, I looked up the history of that station and found, and online, and found that it is reportedly haunted by a faceless girl with blonde hair and a white dress. I was shocked to realize I had actually seen her. I have returned to the station, but haven't encountered the ghost again. And that's where that one ends. That's also has to be amazing, but also terrifying. When you have an experience and then you look into it and the location that where you had the experience, and then you find out that you are just the latest person to have a similar experience in that location. That's just has to be wild. I don't think I've had that happen just yet. But again, this faceless apparition. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. But that's the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I need to look into that. I think I need to do some major research on that and what that means or how that works, because then just to find that many accounts of experiences like that just within such a short amount of time, and to have them show up in the same night of recording, that's always amazing when that happens. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's if you think about train stations, that's a lot of energy moving through with all the electronics that are in the walls and the trains themselves and the rails and everything. Makes sense that there could be activity there just for those reasons alone. So, not even counting the history of a place. Moving on to the next one here. And I'm going to have to scroll down to find, to get the whole story here. Okay. This one says, I have been seeing a shadow in the corner of my eye, but I just dismiss it as sleep deprivation. Today, while having a conversation with my two brothers, I saw a human-sized shadow that ran dark quickly through the kitchen. Wow, that was weird. Thought I heard a voice. Okay, that's wild. Dark quickly through the kitchen. I was surprised and asked one of my brothers if he had seen it too. And he was also shocked, having seen the shadow in his peripheral vision. My other brother did not see anything and suggested it might have been a bug. There was no one else in the kitchen at the time, as we would have heard it if someone was there. It couldn't have been anyone else. This might seem minor or unremarkable, but I had to share it although I expect I'll forget about it in time. Now that's where that one ends. I don't know if I made that noise and I just didn't realize it or what, but I heard a noise. So that was kind of odd. So it sounded like a voice, like right when I was talking. But anyway, it is that time of year. Who knows? I heard a bump in my bedroom earlier today too. So in my storage room, I use it for storage. I don't really use it for a bedroom. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so that's the end of that one. And it's always good to have validation of multiple people having the same experience and then at the same time noticing it there. Excuse me. So I don't know. It's shadows are definitely a common thing, and they don't seem to be all good or all bad or all neutral. Everyone seems to be different. So I don't know what they saw or who was there or why, but I'm glad that they had at least one other witness with them. So anyway, let's see here. Moving on to the next one here. And let me see. Excuse me. This one says, when I was 9 years old, my family moved to a trailer park where my aunt and cousin lived. My brothers, cousins, friends, and I had many strange experiences there. People would vanish without warning. Strange voices came from out of nowhere and vanished just as quickly. We also noticed that the adults in the area, including our own family, acted out of character while living there. A few years ago, when I was 24, I told my roommate about these experiences, and they suggested researching the trailer park. When I did, I discovered no record of the trailer park existing. Even after paying for county records, no trace of the trailer park was found. The trailer park was supposed to be destroyed and replaced by an apartment complex, which still exists. My brothers and cousins vividly remember the events, but my parents refuse to talk about it, as does my aunt. V, a close friend from the trailer park, revealed that his parents also refused to talk about it and forbade him from even contacting other kids from the trailer park. Has anyone else had similar experiences? And that's where that one ends. That one is a wild one. It sounds like a sort of a hub for like high strangeness, weird paranormal things going on there, unexplainable things. And then I don't know, the adults acting weird. I wonder if they were being affected somehow by energies in the area or beings in the area. The fact that there's no record of the place anymore, that seems odd to me. You would think there would still be a record of what was there before the apartment complex was built, which there is record of. So, and then the way, excuse me, the way the adults didn't want to talk about it after the fact. I mean, if they were being affected by outside forces or outside influences, I can't really blame them for not wanting to talk about it. But it just makes me wonder what else people experienced there and what was the cause of all of this. I have no idea, but that to me is a wild one. You don't just have traditional sort of paranormal experiences going on there. You have almost like an erasing of the record of the place, and the only people that maybe know about it, that know that it existed, are the people that lived there. But it was such a strange time in their lives, maybe, that they don't want to talk about it. I don't know, but that one really struck me as odd when I found that one a little while back. I find these stories and I save them for when I do shows, and so it's been a little while, but it was obviously not too long ago. But yeah, I don't know what to make of that one. I think we have time for at least one more true story here. And this one says, over Labor Day weekend, my wife and I went to a friend's house for drinks and a cookout. Later that night, my wife saw two reflective eyes on top of a neighbor's house. She tried to figure out if it was a reflection from streetlights or something else, but couldn't see any outline or features besides the eyes. When she called for the rest of us to look, the eyes disappeared instantly. The group, our group, used flashlights to investigate, but found no explanation for what it could have been. My wife insisted it was not an owl, which is also ironic in a way. I'll explain why after. We are all used to seeing owls in the area. The neighborhood is built over abandoned coal mines. I don't know if that is important or not. Does anyone have any ideas or explanations for what the eyes might have been? And that's where that one ends. That one, a couple of things there that are sort of well known in the, I guess you could say, in paranormal circles or in people that research these things or look into these things. The owls, of course, being common sightings or common sounds surrounding paranormal activity and surrounding spirituality and all these things. I don't know enough of the details to really talk a ton about that. Just that they are there. Also, the coal mine. This idea of mines. So many mines, whether they're usually when they're abandoned and they're not being used anymore, so many mines have reports of paranormal activity going on in and around them. So it sort of doesn't surprise me, not to say that every mine has to have paranormal activity surrounding it or within it, but many of them seem to. So I don't know if that has a connection or not, but it's possible there. And yeah, I don't know. It's always amazing to me when people see just eyes, because that's not physically possible in a situation. If it's an animal of any kind, I mean, yes, a lot of them can blend in, so there is that. But I also wonder too if in certain situations, whether people specify it or not, they get a feeling from what they're seeing, that if it's just eyes or whatever they're seeing, that sort of just tells them through energy or whatever, or their gut or just feelings, that this is not a regular, a known creature, a known animal that I'm looking at or that is looking at me. And I don't know how I know that, but I can just feel it. And I don't think, I understand that it can't be, that kind of feeling can't always be verified through science or whatever, but I think it's important to pay attention to those feelings. I think it was probably even more important way back when for survival purposes, but I think it's still important now when you have these encounters to go with those feelings. And yes, we could be wrong. There's always that chance of that. But I think in many cases, if we have that kind of gut feeling or that feeling that something is good or bad, it's going to be the way it is, the way that we feel it is. And it's important to pay attention to those feelings. So anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all on the next episode of Salsidoparanormal. Take care.